Hey, we're cooking with sage fruit apples, and we are so glad you joined us. I'm Steve Post, the Postman from Motor Racing Network and Wing Nation, joined by Casey from Sage Fruit. Hello, Casey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so excited. We had our chat last week, and you can go back on Sage Fruit's Facebook page and find that to kind of set the table. And it's been really, really fun. The night after that chat, or the night of that chat, I went to one of my run clubs, and one of my buddy Kenny says, "Okay, so what are you cooking first? What's first?" And so a lot of excitement. My kids are excited. My daughter is responsible for this first recipe and everything else. So I'm really, really excited about it. Casey, you've done a lot of cooking before too, but it's
Yep.
kind of neat to tie work into pleasure and fun. It's got to be really neat for you to do that as well.
It is, yeah. And get to share what I like and what I share with my family with everybody else.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, this is the first of 10 episodes that we have of our cooking show. And by the way, if you have a catchy idea for our cooking show, you can actually type it in and send it to us on our social media. We're not going to guarantee anybody anything because then you sometimes you have to choose a bad name. But if someone comes up with a really good name for this, we might steal it. We might we might use it. I was thinking about, how do you like them apples? Something like that. So,
I like
but that
that
might
too.
be trademark. Yeah, that might be trademark because there's a movie or something. I don't know. We'll figure it all out. Yeah, I
I mean,
like
can you
them
really
apples.
trademark that? I don't know.
Well, that's true. Well, that's true. We'll have our people look into it. That's for sure. So, Casey, where we're starting with this, and again, this is the first of 10. We're starting with snacks. I love snacking, and I love even with some of the things I'm going to add to my snack. I love the fact that there's a healthy base there with apples. So, snacking with apples. What do you have for us this week on your snacking with apples?
Today I have apple cinnamon energy bites, which is, for me, I like a good snack that I can pre-make, package up, and then it's ready when I'm ready to leave in the morning. Because who has time to cook in the morning when you're trying to get everybody loaded up and out the door? So the recipe that I am going to make is actually, you can kind of maneuver it the way you want. I've seen a couple of options where you can add pitted dates. I just didn't feel like getting the food processor out today, but maybe instead of the honey, you can use some pitted dates because they're kind of sticky and so that'll hold it all together. I like to use peanut butter. You can use almond butter. You can use sunflower butter, whatever it is that you feel like you want to use. So to get started, I've got my 2 cups of rolled oats. And then I've got, instead of doing a 1/4 cup of flaxseed, I've got an 1/8 cup of flaxseed and an 1/8 cup of chia seeds that I'm going to put in for that. And then I've got a teaspoon of cinnamon. Just going to kind of eyeball it. And then also, so for me, the original recipe that I looked up called for a 1/2 cup of almond butter. I found that it's really hard to roll my small energy bites. So I went ahead and did 3/4 of a cup of peanut butter. And then a 1/4 cup of honey. Put it all together. And then a teaspoon of vanilla.
Ooh.
And you just mix that all together so everything gets coated. And then after everything gets coated, you'll add in your apples. So I chose to use Pink Lady apples today just because I like a little bit of a bite. They're still sweet, but they have a nice tartness to them that I like, and they have a tendency to pick up cinnamon flavors very well. So that's my choice. They brown a little less than some of the other apple varieties. Another good variety, if you're worried about like not having enough moisture in here to roll them, would be a Fuji, because they are very, very juicy. And so it just kind of gives that extra little hint. So here's what it should look like. Then we toss in our apples. It says to use grated apples. So you can use just a cheese grater or whatever you want. I have a handy dandy Pampered Chef spiralizer that I like to use, and then just give it an extra little chop. So then just get them all mixed up. You should have about it'll probably make you 12 to 15 little energy bites. I like to package them in about 3s and take them to work. So then once you get it all together, you just take and you mold them into some round little bite-sized balls, just like that. And you put them on a cookie sheet or on whatever it is that you're using. Pop them in the refrigerator for anywhere from a half hour to an hour so that they can kind of set up. And then you will have pre-made them last night. These little, I guess, energy bites,
Nice.
ready to rock and roll for the week. There should be enough that can last you about a week. So
Really
yeah,
good, healthy, easy, simple, pre-made.
yeah,
Good to go.
yeah. Simple ingredients. They're tasty. I gave some to my family last night for them to taste test for me too. So
Cool.
yeah.
Sounds good.
So what is
Awesome.
it that you're making today?
Okay, so my original plan, I was going to keep it really, really simple. I was going to take apples and basically say you can put over them whatever you want. You could put cinnamon over them. You can do sugar over them. You can dip them in yogurt. You can dip them in peanut butter. And I felt kind of like I was battling two different things. This is my first time doing a cooking type show, so I thought, well, it'd be easy and I won't mess it up. But I was kind of like, well, why don't I just take an apple out and take a bite of it and say, there's my snack, you know? So we did the chat last week. Okay. And my daughter, who participated in the chat, she said, you should make apple nachos. Now, I've got to be honest with you. I've never even heard of apple nachos. Well, once I Googled and she sent me the recipe for apple nachos, I knew that was the way to go. Casey, you say that you make apple nachos on a regular basis.
Yep, that was a good call by daughter for sure. We do make apple nachos. It is one of the recipes that we've worked on with a couple of people too, because you can use so many different topics. It's kind of a free-for-all, but it's fun for if you're having gatherings with your friends or family or kids, because they can decorate and have whatever it is that they want to have. And it's a healthy snack, even though you add a little bit of maybe unhealthy to it. It's better than sitting down and having just all the junk.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going with dark chocolate. And so I'm going to put dark chocolate. I'm going to put this in the microwave and just get it so I can drizzle over the top of it. So I'm going to do that before we even get started. I also got a message that my computer is not plugged in, so I want to make sure I've got battery on. And then what I've got is a Fuji apple. Now, I'd sent these recipes to you, and you had kind of given me a pretty good explanation that the Fuji was kind of the good way to go, correct?
Yes, it's very, very sweet. It's got a nice juiciness to it. I love the Fuji myself. Mm-hmm. There's not many apple varieties, I guess, that I don't like, but I like them all for different reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I found amazing with being involved with Sage Fruit and being involved at the, I lived at one time in the idea, the premise that an apple was an apple. And to a degree it is, but there are so many different varieties and so many different ways that you can do them and so many different qualities that the various apples have. Let me check on my, there we go, get that going again. Okay. And so what I've done with the apples, I've basically just quartered them up, took the center out of them. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to thinly slice them. All right. Just slice them thinly. And really, really good. This, I will be honest, I made a trial run earlier today, and I really, really loved it. I mean, it won't be the last time that I make it. Like I said, my daughter was like, we're going to make it. They're at the beach this week. And so when they get back, this will be one of the snacks that we make. So just really, really cool. I think the other thing that I really like about this is that while I'm using certain additions or toppings, you can do really anything you want. Like I went with the chocolate I went with was a dark chocolate because I tend to like dark chocolate a little bit more. But and I'm going to do some peanut butter and some coconut. But you can do caramel. You can do I mean,
The
all kinds of things.
The coconut
Yeah.
topping is my daughter's favorite. She will just eat it straight from the container that we have it in.
Really? Let me check
Yeah.
on my chocolate here and see how that's coming along. I'm going to go another minute on that. So what I do with it, so the apples, I've got them in tiny little slices. Okay. Basically, if you think about nachos, you think about chips. And so I've got them in tiny little slices, and I'm just laying them out here on the plate, kind of in a circular pattern, a little bit so that it has some rhyme or reason to it, some decorative pattern to it, so it looks good. Presentation, Casey, is part of the fun of cooking.
I actually learned that yesterday. My nephew was over and I made him dinner, and yeah, apparently I didn't put everything the way that it was supposed to. And so he sent it back.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then my daughter decided to also take note, and she sent hers back because she then needed ketchup in a bowl instead of on her plate because her cousin had it in a bowl.
Oh boy. So we had a mutiny at the table.
I know, there really was.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, well, that's working in there because it's hot. Let me get a pot holder and get that chocolate, because we're just about ready to put this together. And this is going to be so good, so good. So as you can see, the chocolate is just now, and I think there might be for, oh, that's going to be perfect. That's going to be perfect. So there's the chocolate. So here we go. Let's put this all together. I have got my apples thinly sliced. Okay. What I've got like a creamy peanut butter. I like whole peanut butter where you go to the store and you actually blend your own, but I've got this, and I open it up and it's very creamy. A lot of times I thought I might have to put it in the microwave, but this is very creamy. You can see that it's just drizzling right off from the knife. And so what I'm going to do is just drizzle that around. Yeah, no, it made it really easy. One of the other things that I looked at with it, just drizzle the peanut butter around. This is going to be so good. Okay, so there's the peanut butter on the chocolate. I've got my pot holder. And again, my chocolate, after I melted it down, it's not quite as, it doesn't pour quite as good. Well, it does pretty good. It doesn't pour quite as good as the peanut butter does. It's a little clumpier, but that's all right. Nothing wrong with that. So we've got that, and then we've got that on there. And then what I've done is I've got coconut flakes. And so I'm just going to sprinkle it with coconut flakes. So there you have it. Apple nachos.
All right.
I'll tip them over. Apple nachos. So that's apples with peanut butter, chocolate, and coconut flakes. And again, you can do whatever you want. I would even think about like the Hershey's chocolate syrup if you just want to squeeze that out. I'm sure that's good. But so apple nachos, my easy apple snack. And Casey, you had?
Yep. While you were doing that, I finished up my little energy bites, and I'm going to pop them in the fridge.
There we go. Yeah. Energy bites from Casey. Apple nachos from Steve. How about that? Great, great stuff. Great snacking ideas. These recipes will be available at sagefruit.com. Sagefruit.com. There's a whole bunch of other recipes there as well. You can check them out. And apple snacks. What are we going to do next time, Casey? What's next week's edition?
Breakfast. How do we add apples to our breakfast? Other than just taking a bite of an apple.
There you go. Always a good option. But we're going to get a little creative more than just taking a bite of an apple. So we appreciate you joining us this time on our cooking show. She's Casey with Sage Fruit. I'm the Postman, Steve Post from MRN and Wing Nation. And next week, apples for breakfast.